is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Oh, hello.
What are you talking about?
Well, let's start with fishy, shall we? Don't judge the Conservative Party on what the Conservative Party have done up to this point. Now it's an all-new Conservative Party. And Rishi Sunak is a new broom. Yeah, I believe you. I totally believe you, but then I am an incredibly gullible and stupid person.
I love the poorly educated.
The poorly educated, is that the demographic you're going for? But first, the good news. A UNICEF report says, no, this is not the good news, but it's a preamble to the good news. Of course, it might actually be bad news, but in the long term. But in the short term, shall I just get on with this?
Yes.
A UNICEF report says at least 40... This is not something to be delivered with a smile. A UNICEF report says at least 43 million child displacements were linked to extreme weather events over the past 6 years, an equivalent of 20,000 children being forced to abandon their homes and schools every single day. What? Floods and storms accounted for 95% of recorded child displacement... Floods and storms accounted for 95% of recorded child displacement between 2016 and 2021. The rest were displaced by wildfires and drought. I think I just hurt my face doing that.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Worldwide, July this year currently holds the record for the hottest month ever, as in of all time. August this year is the second hottest month ever. And this September was the hottest September ever recorded in the history of paper and pencil. Meanwhile, temperatures across Spain are expected to reach nearly 40 degrees centigrade this weekend. The start of October in Spain has been the warmest since records began. Unprecedented is the word that keeps cropping up over and over again. I mean, it sounds like a trend, but don't worry, it's not climate change. Goodness me, no. Why would anybody think that when it's been explained to us by the very companies that are causing it that climate change is just a conspiracy to make Rishi Sunak use less hair oil? I mean, seriously, Fishy, maybe you should ease up on the Brill cream. Nobody needs that much product in their hair.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
That's an expert on hair product. And here, an unseasonably warm spell could push the mercury as high as 81 degrees Fahrenheit this weekend. Warm weather is on the way for much of the UK, though heavy, persistent rain remains in the forecast for Northern Ireland and Scotland land and Northern England over the next couple of days, which means that listeners in Glasgow will get their own weather. I can check on that while you wait. Aha! Well, it's raining at the moment in Glasgow. It will also be raining tomorrow, and raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and not raining on Thursday. Rubbish. But it will be raining next Friday, and on Saturday the 14th, and the following Sunday, and on the Monday, and on the Tuesday, and on the Wednesday, and on the Thursday as well. Every day for the next 2 weeks. And the rest of your life, I bet. Oh, well, never mind. Sunday, dry and sunny for mostly. With temperatures nearing October's highest ever temperatures. The south of England could be even hotter than Barcelona, wherever that is. Met Office spokesmodel Steve said an unseasonably warm spell is likely for those in the south of the UK as we head towards the weekend. The average October temperature for the UK is 13 Celsius, and this weekend it's going to be 81 Fahrenheit. So to compare the two, I will have to translate His Majesty's Fahrenheit to European surrender centigrade. So let me see now. 81 Fahrenheit, you double it and add 32 to get to centigrade. So 81 times 2 is 172. And 172 plus 32 is 214. Wow, it's going to be 214 degrees centigrade this weekend. And it's normally just 13. Can you believe that?
No.
Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
Yes.
OK, then. I was not expecting that. Next couple of weeks, dry and warm, followed by breezy, rainy and showery, especially in the northwest. And then, end of this month, beginning of November. Blimey, it's practically Jesus' birthday. End of the month, beginning of November. Wet at first, then longer settled periods with temperatures likely to be milder than average. Longer settled periods with temperatures likely to be milder than average? We'll take it. Amelia texts, Rishi said the Conservatives are the party of change. I can believe him. They're changing Prime Minister every few months.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. It's so fast that you kind of forget that some of them were in position at all. Like, what's her name? I've forgotten what her name is.
That is a
Disgrace. Yeah. How are the pork market's going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Hannah texts, leave Fishy alone. He's heading for victory. Don't ruin his power trip. Only in his own mind. I think maybe the hair oil is seeping into his brain. You imagine the mess that he must leave on his pillow. God. Johnny says, Mordaunt's disgustingly divisive yet insanely screeching rant was the worst job interview I've ever seen, unless you are auditioning to be the next leader of a cabal of detached psychopaths and ultra-right nut jobs, and then it was perfect. Completely perfect. Great success in every way, Penny. Collect 12 of her together and you got a shilling. Not a lot of people know that. Let's have, on that subject, here's a call in Glasgow. Hello, Frankie.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks. Very well.
I was what about you just mentioned the Penny Arcade speech. I hope you, after that, stood up and fought. 'Cause I was fighting everybody. I went to the pub and just the whole pub was fighting. We just stood up and fought, but we didn't know who we were fighting with. We just stood up and fought, so it was good.
I was fighting for the TV remote to just see if I can switch her off.
Honestly, Nick, it was unbelievable. I've never seen... How embarrassing.
It was so bad. I mean, apart from anything else, it was just so comically bad. I mean, she was trying to be, all forceful and...
Saturate.
One louder than that. Yeah.
Lord herself. That's bad going.
And what did you just say about Delia Smith?
Remember Delia Smith remember she had a few
refreshments,
wines at half time. Remember she went on to the park and said, let's be having you, where are you? And she went mental with her Norwich scarf on, and everybody just laughed. Well, that was that. And the round of applause was kind of... You could just hear two people clapping and saying, "What?" I
don't know. It looked to me like that entire room got on his feet. But I think they were just getting on their feet because she just said the same thing over and over again in increasing volume and desperation, as though it was designed to actually get the room on its feet. I don't even know what they were clapping for. I think they were applauding. that she'd finished. Oh, thank God that's over. Now is the bar open. Painful. All right, thanks a lot, Frankie. Leave it with me. I have detailed files. By the way, that text, I read it correctly from Johnny. He said, Mordaunt's disgustingly divisive. If you say the word disgusting, but you say it disgusting, that doesn't sound very disgusting. The S has to become a Z. Disgusting sounds much more disgusting than disgusting. I think you'll find that is right.
Correct.
Darryl says, the brand spanking new Network North sounds great. In fact, it's lucky they never started the now redundant Northern Powerhouse. The government is planning to ban smoking, which stunts your growth. It's too late for the Prime... It's too late for the Prime Minister and his wife, but the children. Think of the children. A good point.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
Hello. Lee texts, Nick, Fishy wants us to forget all about the Tory governments of the past. I assume this includes his Tory government of the past 12 months. Blimey, has it been 12 months already? Ahmed says, can you wheel out your numbers guy to count how many lies were told in this year's Conservative Party conference, because I have lost track of it already. Yes, fortunately, I have a man on tape who fills the air with noise and numbers signifying nothing. How many lies?
And one.
More?
Two.
More than that.
6 million.
6 million lies. I believe that. Doesn't sound like a lie to me. Fleet, Kirsty.
Hello, Nick. I wanted to talk about artificial intelligence.
Hello.
I was listening to one of your podcasts from March today, and whilst I was listening to it, this thing popped up on my newsfeed about a guy whose electric car had completely taken over his driving and sort of ran amok on its own, and even when he took the keys out, it still carried on going.
Yes. It absolutely will not stop ever until you're dead.
Affirmative.
Well, this happened in sunny Glasgow, and he called the police, and they had to ram him off the road because this car would not stop.
I don't think they rammed him off the road. I think they allowed him to crash slowly into them.
Well, it's the same thing.
It's not. Ramming him off the road gives an entirely different image than bringing him slowly to a stop.
Two cars collided because one of them had become self-aware. It's very, very similar. Anyway, it's very, very scary.
Self-aware.
Correct.
Exactly. And it reminded me that earlier this year, the government was saying we need to bring in some legislation surrounding artificial intelligence, but it's a tad too late for that.
A little bit too late for that, yeah. Once it's become self-aware, all bets are off. I'll see you in the bunker, Kirsty.
Exactly. Right. All right. Have a nice evening.
Okay, I won't now. Yeah, the robots are going to kill us.
Affirmative.
That's not the first time that's happened, by the way. I mean, there's an even worse thing that happened in America. I think it was a Tesla car that it ended in someone's demise. So, but, you know, human beings can't drive either, so what's the difference? I mean, we've had our chance for like 100 years or more. Can we drive? No. But, robots can't drive either, but at least we'll be able to, pick our nose with both hands while the car drives itself.
Disgusting.
Steph texts, when interviewed by Sky's brilliant Beth Rigby, Rishi Knick-Knack brought Phil Spector's wall of sound into the political arena. Beth could hardly land a question. One thing he was clear on is that we the people don't want a general election. That's news to me. Cute, tiny, tailored trouser. He had the nerve to say that that's not what the people want. I go out all the time and people always tell me that we don't want a general election, he said. There's a petition online on the government's own website. Petition: call an immediate general election. The Prime Minister should call an immediate general election to allow the British public to have their say on how we are governed. We should not be made to wait until January 2025. And at 8:30 this evening, there were 145 signatures. No, that's 145,000 signatures. And Parliament considers all petitions that get more than 100,000 signatures for a debate, which is pretty weak. They consider petitions that get more than 100,000 signatures for a debate. So even if you've got even if you've got 65 million signatures of people in this country who wanted an immediate general election, Parliament would still only think about debating it. Not actually enacting it, they'd think about talking about it. It's the British way. I suppose we'll have to put up with it. Merthyr Tydfil. Jeff.
Well, Nick, I've just come out from behind the sofa. I'm still petrified. That woman, that morbid woman, she's frightened the life out of me.
Penny Morbid.
Who's she going to fight? I noticed that all the cabinet in the front, like rabbits in the headlights, they were frightened she was going to come off the stage. I've never seen anything like it. Anyway, they've let all the lunatics out of the asylum, haven't they? Somebody's let them all out. I've never in all my life seen anything like it. But I've got some news for you. Some terrific news. It made the third page of the Merthyr Express. Is that wonderful organ that I'm sure you're familiar with?
No.
The
big hole in the ground, yes, that must be what you're talking about. The big hole in the ground, you can see from space, yes.
It's going to shut next month. But it's official. There is no money to fill the hole in.
Right.
How much? 100 million? 120
£100 million just to cover over where they've taken a mountain out and turned it into hot, delicious coal.
Is that enough to get the guys who own it into the Lords? Because usually you usually got to do a lot more than that, I think.
There's absolutely no way that any of the people involved in what looks to my untrained eye like criminal activity, no way that any of those people are going to jail. They will, as you suggest, go to the House of Lords instead.
And lastly, you've got to get our pint in that pub. It's a brilliant pub. It's called the Goose and Cuckoo. It's just south of Abergavenny. It's brilliant. It is.
The Goose and Cuckoo. I'll put it on my list. Thanks a lot, Jeff. 0345 6060 973. Here is the news from next door. Tesla's autopilot software has been involved with more deaths and injuries than previously known. A total of 17 fatalities and 736 crashes since 2019, according to data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Is that in America? Right. Blimey. Well, that's not very good, is it? How is that company still in business? You'd think they would have been sued into a black hole in space. Even that moon-faced creep who runs Twitter ain't got that much money. I'm not calling it X. I just won't. I don't care how much money he spent on it. It's Twitter, always will be. Just like it will always be the post office tower. I don't care who says otherwise. I'll get to the speechifying in a minute. But first I have to get through some of these calls. They're calling and calling. How do they find my number? Seattle, Brendan.
Yeah, hi, Nick. I've got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about Braverman and talk of this hurricane.
How come, by the way, it sounds like you're in the room and you're talking to me from 6,000 miles away?
I don't know.
Is this a mobile phone?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Well, that's ridiculous. I can't talk to somebody in this building on a mobile phone and hear what they're saying.
Yeah, no, it is a good line, I will say. But yeah, so she was banging on about economic migrants, and it just puzzled me because I was thinking, well, I know at least two economic migrants, one of them being Rishi Sunak, because he applied to the US for a permanent resident, a green card, and was successful. So he must have gone, as I've done, he must have gone to the US authorities and told them, I'm moving, that is going to be my permanent base. And as far as I know, his wife, well, she's Indian, she's not American, so he would have been doing this for economic reasons. Right. So he's number one. His wife is Indian, she's living in the UK, she's a migrant. But that's so. Question one is are they part of the hurricane that we've heard about? And then question two is how is it no one seems to be pressing Rishi Sunak anymore on the whole non-dom status of his wife? Because whenever he's asked a question on it, which isn't that often, it's very much weasel words.
Oh my God! He starts bouncing up and down in his chair like he's been like he's on Granddad's lap. It's incredible. I mean, I'd love to play poker with him because he's got a tell you could see through concrete.
Yeah, well, and it's as much as what he doesn't say because he's very careful in saying she's agreed to pay income on all their...
Well, the last time I heard him talk about his wife's affairs, he got really tetchy and said, well, that's nothing to do with me and I don't know anything about my wife's affairs. Like, have they even met?
Yeah, I know. And it is, I mean, surely these are the very people that Braverman should have in her crosshairs.
Mm. They should be on the first flight to Rwanda. Yeah, of course, when they get on the plane, they'll turn left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, these are the kind of questions, Brendan, that would make your position in America untenable. We have an extradition treaty with America, and I think they'll be insisting on your return straight away.
Right.
All right, thanks a lot, mate. It's Wandsworth for you. Although we have run out of spaces. Did you hear about that? I might get to that later. We've only got 651 prison spaces left in this country. So all of those people who were protesting outside of the Tory party conference in Manchester, you've all had your names taken. Your names are on the list and you are going in, but only 651 of you. The rest of you we're going to export to Estonia.
What?
Yeah. Did you read about that? Oh, my God. just when you thought you couldn't get any crazier, it does. Let's see if I can squeeze a call in before the new news. Milan?
Hey, Nick.
There you are. Yes, sir.
How are you?
I am great, mate. Have you seen the Saw one where they suck someone's eyeballs out?
I'm going to see that at some point. Well, I'm going to see The Exorcist tomorrow, so I'm going to watch Saw at some point.
What, The Exorcist?
Yeah, The Exorcist Believer. It's on tomorrow.
They've made another Exorcist.
They've made another Exorcist. Yeah.
Right.
So,
God, they really have run out of ideas completely, haven't they? Every single thing at the Cineplex has got a number after it.
It's interesting you say that because I saw a really good film last week called The Nun 2. So, the sequel to The Nun.
Oh, right. All right, that sounds awful. But anyway.
There's one film which you may like. So it probably got on the radar. It's called Rise of the Foot Soldier Vengeance. It's got lots of
God, that sounds terrible. Absolutely
action.
Awful.
Oh, if it had Tom Cruise in it, you'd love it.
Well, if Tom Cruise wouldn't be in a film that's called Rise of the whatever you just said, would he?
I was going to talk. I think you're being a bit rude. I think
me.
Yeah, I know, because you're claiming that there are some lies being told by the Tory party, but
yes.
At the conference they said that they're the party of facts. You've got to trust them. I mean, they said they're the party of facts.
Oh, well, you should have said before. I mean, if that's what they said, then I'm convinced.
I know, it's ridiculous. For the last few years, there were non-stop lies and nonsense, and the barefaced shame that they just, in interviews, when they're confronted with the evidence of lies, they just look at the evidence and they just
repeat it.
Just continue.
Yeah.
They just repeat the lies.
Yeah, they will be told by the interviewer what you've just said is not right for the following reasons, and Rishi Sunak will sit there bouncing up and down, glazed over like he's overdosed on his own hair oil, and he'll just repeat the thing that they've just told him is wrong.
And can I say something controversial?
Uh-oh.
They can do that because they know that there's a good portion of the electorate who will believe their nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
If they knew that there's a good portion of the electorate who would actually see through their nonsense, they wouldn't say it. But they know that there's enough Tory voters who are easy to con. So that's why they repeat the lies. They think, you know what, it's easy to get away with it. We've been getting away with it for 5 years. Why stop now?
Yeah, I'll sum up their arguments for you. Yeah, it's just a lot of noise and numbers signifying nothing.
And I don't know if you eat meat, but do you know, apparently it's going to be taxed.
Yeah. But you won't be able to buy any because evil councils will stop you going to the shops. You only get to go to the shops for 10 times per year. That's the new 15-minute city rule.
And you know how many houses are going to, the house building, and you know whose fault it's been all this time that we haven't had any housing?
Jeremy Corbyn?
No, it's the EU.
The EU. Right, I knew it was going to be one of the two. All right, thanks for setting us straight there, Milan. Keep your eyes peeled, and as soon as there are any developments, let me know. Straight away, I mean it.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. Lee texts, Fishy wants us to forget about the Tory governments of the past. I assume that includes his Tory government of the past 12 months. I'm getting deja vu. Did I not just read that one? Ahmed texts, can you wheel out... I've read that one. Steph texts, read that one. Oh, my God. Like, oh, my God, what's happening here? I'll do it myself. I'll delete them off my screen myself. Martin texts, I read that Jeremy Hunt is going to crack down on benefit claimants. Does this mean that MPs' salaries will go if they don't turn up for work, or their accommodation and travel expenses will be curtailed, and the subsidised bars and restaurants in the Commons will go? I'm sure that's what he intends. Good job, Jezza. Keep up the good work. Will it mean any of that?
No, 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 no.
No. And you're going to wake up chained to a hospital bed in Rwanda. You keep that up, mate. Adam says, I watched the whole Tory party conference, and I don't know about you, but after 30 years of Labour, I will be voting for Rishi Sunak, the beacon of integrity, professionalism, accountability, meat eating and change.
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability
every level.
At every level.
That was pretty much the first thing that he said. That was his address to the nation, his initial address. And that was a lie, and everything subsequent has been a lie too. But, you know, if he tells us now that everything has changed and they're only going to work in our best interest, well, I'm totally convinced. He should have said that earlier. You've got my vote, Rishi Sunak. Chris says, Nick, my 12-year-old son came up with Sticky Blue Tack as the name for the PM. It works for me. He also loves your soundboard skills and broom cupboard. Shouts to the glamorous assistant too. Yeah, never mind about the glamorous assistant. He's on his worst behaviour. Edward texts, due to the bedbug infestations in France, I hope Cruella and Fishy will deport any of the bugs who arrive on these shores back to France. Well, of course, when we were in the European Union, we could have sent them back, but now we're stuck with them. 0345 6060 973. I'll get into Fishy Sunak's speech and Penny Mordaunt's speech and the Liz bot and all of that in a moment. Just give me some time. I've got to wipe up some of these calls first. Here's one in Crayford. Hello, Terry.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Terry.
Oh, by the way, your glamorous assistant is allowed to rebel sometimes.
Is he?
Yeah, we're all allowed to.
Oh, I suppose so. Every now and again he can just cut loose.
It's just, I do have a theory, actually.
A what?
I have a theory.
Oh, I thought you said beery. Booze.
No, no, a theory.
A theory, yes.
Yes. I'm wondering, you know when Penny Mordaunt marched down the aisle holding the sword
yeah.
At King Charles's coronation,
mm-hmm.
I think she might have been possessed by the spirit of the sword, and that's why she wants to fight.
Right. Maybe off camera she actually got hit in the head with a sword, and that would explain a lot.
I mean, come on, it was ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was beyond silly. I mean, I think she was trying to be powerful and scary, but she just looked like a clown in really dull clothing.
I know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Do you think, though, she might smite Rishi with the sword eventually?
Well, we could put that on TV pay-per-view. I'd spend a small amount of money to see that. How about you, Terry?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, my dear. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. David texts, we're due a month's worth of rain in the Highlands of Scotland in the next 36 hours. 18 centimetres, and it's going to be 9C. I have no idea what that means. What are you talking about, David? Just a bunch of numbers. Would you like to be a government minister? Just give me a load of numbers that don't mean anything. Mick Tex, have you noticed the lack of Melania when Donny has been showing up in court and speaking to the dingalings? I haven't actually seen any footage of that. But I seriously doubt whether Melania is within touching distance of Donald Trump. I mean, you wouldn't be, would you?
Oh, shut up!
Do you think it's got anything to do with her negotiating her third prenup agreement to stay with the orange one, says Mick. Hey, Melania, your husband may be going to jail.
I don't care.
She's actually not that bothered. 0345 6060 973. Luton, Adam.
Oi, oi. Hi, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
So I just have like 2 points. I'll give you the nice one. I'll give you the sweet one and then the sour one later.
Mm-hmm.
The sweet one is I saw a meme of Rishi Sunak, and you always go on about how giant his bobblehead is.
Yeah.
And some Americans were saying that he looks like Easter Island head. Them like because it's like little wax little.
I think he looks. This may not. You might not understand what I'm about to say, but he looks to me like a Pez dispenser. Have you ever seen?
I remember them from France.
You ever seen one of them?
France. Yeah.
A Pez dispenser. That's what he looks like. Yeah.
And now on to the more sad facts.
Oh.
Because, So I just wanted to say, like, I just was wondering how you sleep at night. Like, I was wondering,
me?
Is your little yeah. Because I was wondering, is your comedy and your little sound effects, is it like a nervous coping mechanism? Because I think like you should be having like horrific nightmares, given that you have Cassandra's dream. You have everything you have said has come true, and I thought before it was just really funny. And you had like a funny approach to it. Mm-hmm. But now knowing that I'm in your world,
yes,
like I don't think it's funny anymore. And I don't know how you stay so upbeat. Like this week has genuinely depressed me.
Yeah.
And then I just remember like, you've been talking about it for so long. You're like a sage. And then in that regard, knowing what you know, how are you happy? It doesn't make sense. Like, is it a coping mechanism?
Adam,
like
here, let me give you a piece of advice. Turn the television off. Turn the computer off. Walk away from the news. It's not helping you.
Well, I actually had to do that this week because when I saw Nigel Farage disco dancing, cue your little rave sound effect.
Yes.
With the party, and then Rishi said we'd be happy to have him in our party, given 2 years they were calling him a nut, and now they say. They'd be happy to
yeah, he would
have him in
fit
our party.
right in.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Exactly.
And then, we've got a couple of loons in our party. Another thing that he once said. And then on top of that, then I heard on one of your commentators' shows this week, people saying that he'd be if he came into the party, he'd be given a safe seat, and he'd quite likely be the leader of the party. And that's kind of sounding like what they did with Trump, with like how him being, they want him to, the Texas governor is going to make him.
It does appear as though
be the new Kevin McCarthy.
Right. It does appear as though UKIP have staged what they call in business circles a reverse takeover, by which I mean the smaller entity has taken over the larger entity, and the Tory party are no more. It is an ex-party. They are dead and gone to meet the invisible maker in the sky. They're UKIP now. They're Britain First now.
But it's funny when, you think that you are being hyperbolic. But now it's like, well, what are your two fun shows? And Sunday's meant to be your serious one. When it's all
the
serious.
Same.
it's
all
not
the
funny
same
anymore, Nick.
Yeah.
Like, you're actually telling us the truth, but you're making it sound light-hearted. It's almost like you're singing us a little nursery rhyme.
Yeah, it's like I am the problem. I am a government agent here to dress up the ruination of this once great nation and play stupid sound effects over it.
Stand up, and yet we got Penny Mordaunt going full Mussolini on stage.
She did.
Mussolini mode.
Yes,
it's
she
just
did.
Like it's not funny anymore, Nick. And I don't feel like having seen the way people were like. Nigel Farage is a stand-up guy. He was disco dancing. Why was he so happy? I thought he said they were the enemies because they weren't right-wing enough. They're not doing... He could be ushered into a safe seat like Boris's one, or send him to the north because they voted, they love him.
There's certain areas of the country that would not repel him on sight. Yes.
He could be our Prime Minister.
He
through
could.
The back door.
He could be our Prime Minister. That is absolutely right. Yeah. But
well, I have Irish citizenship, so I can't escape. I can only go to England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland or whatever. But you know, it's not looking good, Nick. And I don't think you should be funny about it anymore because it really lulls me into like this full sense of
security. Yeah,
security. But actually,
there's nothing good about it. Yes, that is right. Well,
we've never had it so
good. Yeah, quite right. All right. Well, consider me told. Thanks a lot, Adam. Cheers, mate. Pills are wearing off in Luton in Bedfordshire, I'm afraid. Come down with a bump. Toby texts, next year 14-year-olds will have spent their entire lives under a Conservative administration. I can't think of anyone more in need of a smoke, says Toby. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Where did that come from, by the way? I mean, that's just so totally unlike the Conservative Party to even discuss that smoking issue, isn't it? I mean, nobody was screaming for that. Where did that come from? Like he's trying to kid on that he actually has our best interests at heart? You're going to have to do a lot better than that, Fishy. 0345 6060 973. So I haven't actually got into my take on the Tory party conference yet. Although I did like the Brexit guys' musical accompaniment, and the local police's increasingly desperate attempts to make him put a sock in it. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yes, and I just had a message from next door that he put on the screen and then he took off the screen again, presumably because he was embarrassed. Apologies for whatever I did to rebel. Was dealing with the phones. Sorry if I missed something, says my glamorous assistant. Missed something? On this show? I don't think so. I mean, if you did, then I did. Sanjay says, I couldn't believe that Sunak sent on his billionaire wife to give him a reference before his speech. Do these people have no shame?
No.
No, that's the reason that they can do the things that they do, that is because they do have no shame. You know, previous to this regime, which has been in power now for what seems like an epoch, people didn't used to act this way. They didn't lie and lie and lie and lie and lie to your face and were told that they were lying and then in response just repeated the lie as though they have no other thoughts in their heads other than the ones that they had, other than the answers to questions that they probably weren't even going to be asked, but they were determined to give during every interview that they conduct. Previously, the lies did not come this thick and fast because previously, politicians had shame. Previously, we had politicians of distinction and character, like Gordon Blooming Brown, for instance. You hear him speak and you think, my God, he's a serious person. Oh, yeah, that's what politicians used to sound like. Instead of this catastrophic clown show that we've had going on for the last 13 years here.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And, that's the reason why. It's because shame used to stop politicians from saying this stuff. That they have no shame means that they are free to do anything they want. Same with Donald Trump in America. The man has absolutely no shame, so never feels it necessary to do anything proper at any time.
Everything that I've done is 100% proper. That's what I do, is I do things proper.
Anyway, Sanjay says, then he comes on, does Sunak, he comes on and starts listing all the problems in the country like they haven't been in charge for the past 14 years. And he's the man to sort it out. How stupid does he think we are? Very, very, very stupid, Sanjay. It's the Donald Trumpization of British politics. They're just going for a certain demographic.
I love the poorly educated.
Those people, the dingalings. Stu says, if Sunak was created by AI, I don't think we have anything to worry about. I can tell he's not real. He does look like he is brought to us on Super Marionation, doesn't it? A little bit, yeah. I'm pretty sure I could see the strings. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Fleet. James.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
I reckon Cruella is getting a bit concerned about her image and softening amongst the fans, and she's been trying to restore it. And her latest bit of performative cruelty is to make a stand on dogs' tails and doing it in public as well.
Stand on dogs' tails?
Stand on dogs' tails. And it wasn't just any dog, it was a lovely, fluffy, hard-working guide dog.
Oh.
Can you believe that?
Now, wait a minute, I missed this story. Cruella attacked a guide dog. Yeah, that sounds on brand.
Yeah, a guide dog. And I'm wondering what she's going to do next year if she's still here. I reckon she'll be strangling an even cuter animal during her speech live on stage.
Yeah, she'd be strangling Rishi Sunak. Yeah.
And, another delight, did you see Dame Pretty dancing with Nigel?
Oh, my God. Unbelievable, yeah.
Singing I Can't Take My Eyes Off You at the karaoke. I'm at a loss to understand how they can get even more ghastly, but I'm sure they'll manage it.
Yeah, they'll find a way. They always do, yeah. All right, thanks for the bad news, James. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. What's this story here? Public shocked as Suella Braverman stands on guide dog's tail. Oh, my God. The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, deliberately stood on the tail of a guide dog. Can you believe that? While punching a blind person in the face. The incident took place at the Conservative Party conference in Manchester while Braverman was talking to members of the guide dogs at their stand. She crossed the room to go and stand on a guide dog's tail. In the images shared on Twitter, the post shows the Home Secretary's heel on the dog's tail. That'll teach it. Being kind. The zoomed-in image seems to show that the heel was on the tail and not the carpet. It looks like it to me. But the poor dog just sat there and took it because, it's used to that kind of thing after 13 years of Conservative rule. Did she apologise? Did she reach down and stroke the dog and say sorry?
No.
No! Well, it's a good job there weren't any kittens there, because otherwise those cats would have been dead by now. How did I miss that? I mean, okay, full disclosure, I couldn't bring myself to look at the full coverage of the Tory party conference. I thought I'd rather die than do that. So I didn't. I enjoyed myself instead. I think I picked the right choice. But I do have detailed files about the highlights of the conference. But if I'd known about this, then I would have included it. She crossed a room to deliberately attack a blind person's guide dog. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Me too. That dog's going to wake up in a jail in Estonia. Good job it didn't yelp or complain in any way. Vote Conservative or that dog gets it. I am stunned. Suella Braverman apologised to all dogs out there after the unfortunate incident. Who said that?
The Mirror.
The Mirror, really? Did she apologise to the dog in person? In doggy speak? I want to hear her talk to that dog in doggy speak. Nothing else will do. I am outraged. This should be one of those stories they have in the Mail. Fury as. Every other story in the Mail these days is fury as. They really are trying to ramp up your anger, boys and girls. They are trying to make you angry about everything apart from the thing that should really be making you angry. Fury as. Sunset happens in the west again, forcing people looking east to turn around. I'm so angry. I mean, what is happening? Do you understand what is going on in this country anymore? Because I don't. I mean, I don't recognise this as real life. Is this real life, or am I hallucinating? Because it would be great if it was the latter. If it's the former, I think I might just check out for a while. I'm going to buy myself a yurt and go live up a hill in Wales. Who's with me? Hands in the air. Stu says, Lawrence Fox has been arrested for damaging ULEZ cameras. I can understand the impulse to damage cameras. I get that every time I see him, Farage and Braverman on TV. And the TV would get it for good measure as well, says Stu. Don't hurt your television, Stu. That's your best friend. Sue says, I saw something that was pretty good this last week. There's a documentary on Netflix called Arnold.
Affirmative.
Yeah, it's a three-part documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Correct.
It's actually very good. Splits his life up into three-part. I mean, what an amazing life that man has had. And he's achieved great success, world-beating success, pretty much, in three completely different fields. Bodybuilding, for a start, and then acting. He became the biggest movie star in the world and is responsible for my favourite action film of all time.
Affirmative.
Oh, that was wrong. I must have him saying affirmative.
Affirmative.
Yeah, there you go. Terminator 2 and, Terminator 1 as well.
Yes.
So he did that. That's two completely different things. Nobody has ever done that before. And then he became the governor of California. And California, if it was a separate country, would be richer than we are. So that's no small thing. It's actually really good. If you are interested in Arnie, then I would make a beeline for it. Watch it straight away, as in right now. It's on Netflix. Other streaming channels are available, but none of them carry that. So, make your choice based on that or not, as you choose. Right, my take on the Tory party conference and your calls and texts and tweets and such after this short break. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking.
Mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Chris Grayling is going. Oh, no. Failing Grayling is bravely running away.
Bye-bye.
What will we do without his expertise in, all of the knowledge that he brought to... I've got no idea. Right, fishy Sunak speech at the Conservative Party conference. Shall we do that? Do you want to relive every moment of it?
No.
Fishy Sunak speech at the Conservative Party conference fell flat with the British people. And it crowned an entire event of goofballs and nut jobs and what looked like the casting call for a remake of Night of the Living Dead. An event that had turned Manchester into a militarised zone so as to keep away all the members of the public who would have liked to cheer their support. I mean, there's only so much praise the Conservative Party can take without getting embarrassed. There was the sight of Liz Truss, the Looby-Loo of the lunatic fringe of the right-wing party, about as empty-headed as a Halloween pumpkin and twice as scary. You might think, why would anybody in their right mind want to listen to her? And then you remember that this was the Tory party conference. There wasn't anyone there in their right mind.
Absolutely.
And we had Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, explaining to us that inflation going down a bit was putting money into people's pockets. Which means that either he's as stupid as his eyes are wide, or he thinks you are. Why are his eyes that wide, by the way? I mean, he looks like he's being forever goosed. He looks like someone who's just got their sight restored after being blind their entire life and can't believe what he's seeing. Maybe he had a cut-price facelift in Turkey. You want to get a refund on that one, mate? And there was Penny Bloomin' Mordaunt. What the hell was that about? Stand and fight, she said about 10,000 times, as though she'd forgotten the rest of her speech, but thought that if she strode around like she was launching an invasion of her own stage, with her finger in the air like Mussolini, then the hall would erupt and every old geezer in there would have a patriot-gasm you could see from space. We will stand and we will fight. Some of us will have a bit of trouble standing unaided. Members will want to assist those that are having difficulty reaching an upright position, but when we're all up, we will fight. Unless we've forgotten why we got up in the first place, in which case, forget it. And the constant sucking up, or maybe it was advertising to some pretend news channel propaganda vehicle for the employment of Looney Tunes end of the crazy gang that are somehow still running this country. Mentioning no names.
My view...
Oh, save it for the telly, smug. The whole thing was about as old and musty as a cheese shop. And the snake oil salesman who seems to have used all the oil he has on his hair was supposed to be the clown in glory. And it went about as well as anything else he's done as our unelected leader. I mean, during his speech, the slippery fishy confirmed his decision to scrap the northern leg of HS2 between Birmingham and Manchester, which is odd, because he'd spent the preceding 2 weeks saying that no decision had been made on HS2. But he'd already filmed one of his toe-curlingly embarrassing videos explaining that the thing he said he hadn't decided on, he'd already decided on. You know, like a man of integrity would.
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability
every level.
At every level.
Polling suggested the speech went down poorly with the public. They were asked, how would you rate Sunak's speech at the end of the Tory party conference? Very poor, 18%. Excellent, 4%.
What?
4. Best of all, didn't watch, 61%. 61% of us did not watch it. Absolutely no one cares, Fishy. They just want you to call an election, which is the very thing he said we didn't want. He actually had the nerve to say that. No one wants an election, he said. Liar! He said, I go out and about every day and that's not what anyone wants. Is that true?
No.
He said, what everyone wants is politicians to make a difference to their lives. Well, it depends. I mean, what everyone wants is a health service that actually promotes health, schools that aren't falling down, police that show up when you need them, and an economy that works for all of us, not just friends and donors of the Conservative Party. And how's all that going?
Oh, fabulous.
Asked to rate how well Sunak was doing in his job as Prime Minister, the majority opinion was... 18% said badly, 48% said neither good nor bad. No, wait. 18% said badly, 48% said neither, and don't know said 13%. Does that add to 100%? No, I've got it completely wrong. Shall I read it again?
No.
Here's what was asked. Sunak, doing a good job? People who said he was doing a good job amounted to 18%. People who thought he was doing badly amounted to 48%. Neither, 21%, and don't know, 13%. They hate you, Fishy Sunak. They hate your stupid little suits and your stupid skinny ties, and that way you have a bouncing in your chair like you're a toddler on Grandad's knee. And they hate your smirk and your tetchy little tantrums when you get asked something you don't like. And they hate the way that you lie and lie and lie. And the hair. Did I mention the hair? I mean, never mind about opening wells in the North Sea. I think we've found a source of oil that will last us into the next century. And when the public were asked about the Conservative Party itself, the most popular response was, how do you feel about the Conservative Party? 59% negative, 19% positive. And 22% said, 22% don't know. How can a fifth of the electorate still be undecided about whether they like the Tories or not? 13 years is not sufficient enough time to have reached a conclusion?
No.
Are they thinking, well, let's give them another 5 years and then we can really see what they're about, where their priorities lie?
Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities. The people's priorities.
God, that sounds super, Fishy. If only any of it was true. He is really bad at his job. 22% of the electorate are still undecided. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, come on. Make your mind up, sheeple. It's later than you think. And as for those who do express a preference, even the Tories can't stand the Tories these days. When asked who they would prefer to be a Tory leader, half of the members picked Sunak. In second place, it was Penny's Stand Up and Fight Mordaunt, Leader of the House of Commons, and recently voted most likely to do an impression of Mussolini if given the stage. And coming in at third place, a man who isn't even in the Conservative Party, but who seems to have performed a reverse takeover, none other than the seller of video birthday greetings, an all-round stale egg, Nigel for bloomin' Raj.
I'm a nutcase.
He could be reabsorbed into the mothership, having been the navigator for what seems like an age now. You could be a Tory again, Nige. Any thoughts?
We've got a few idiots in our party.
A few? What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Cornwall. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello, Nick. How are you, sir?
Great, mate.
I think Sunak is becoming tired of interviews myself. I think that's his weakness.
He's becoming tired of impertinent questions that he hasn't learned an answer to.
Yeah. He's developing a technique which literally means flooding the space between him and his interviewer with words, and the interviewer does not get a chance to get a word in edgeways. Poor Tom Swarbrick interviewed him this afternoon, and it was comical to watch, because it is a literal stream of consciousness, honestly, and it's just utter garbage. It's been a brilliant week for everybody, bar the Conservatives in this country. And you highlighted earlier that he said nobody wants an election. Yeah. Well, the thing is that 25% of the voting public, i.e. Tory voters, they may not want an election. But that's not strictly true, because 31% of Tory voters have already said in a poll last week that they are not voting for Rishi Sunak and the current group of Tories. So you've got 75% of us who are supporters of the other parties, and you've got 31% of the 25% who also are desperate for an election. We want to bring it on, for God's sake.
Wow, that was so many numbers. My mind is swimming. It's like a maths lesson. Boring. No, I understand what you're saying. Yes, even the Tories don't like the Tories anymore because they're not Tory enough. No, that's actually not true. It's not that they're not Tory enough. It's not that they're right-wing Looney Tunes enough. They're not Republican Party in America enough, is what actually is the truth.
I mean, at the conference last week, as you just alluded to Farage and various other incidents, Penny, what's the name? It was like something out of a comedy. And the thing for me is, over the last week, and last night specifically, the election in Scotland. Remember years ago at the debates, used to have a visual aid on screen, which was like how do you put it? Like a gauge moving to the left, and then there was a red line which would go up and down when the public were either happy or unhappy with.
What, like a clapometer?
Yeah. and I mean, in my mind's eye, I can just see every time Sunak speaks, the sort of the yelps of no, stop this.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going off the scale. You can just imagine the public screaming at the screens.
Yeah, the needle will be bending on the disapproval side.
Yeah, and I mean Labour. Did you see? You may not have seen it yet, but Starmer's speech this morning, where he got the word changing, and James O'Brien was mocking it, but simply for the reason that Starmer was so trolling Sunak's speech with the change word, change, and it was absolutely brilliant. You got to watch it.
That sounds very much like homework there, Malcolm. Leave it with me and I'll have a full report on your desk first thing in the morning. And if I don't, then it's the EU's fault. Thanks a lot, mate. Hang on, I'm going to cough. That's better. Sue texts, I read tonight the benefit claimants who are not suitably compliant with job applications may have free prescriptions withdrawn. I would be unsurprised if that happened. Anybody that doesn't vote Conservative is sentenced to death. Martin texts, I thought Penny Mordaunt was about to break into a karaoke version of Cheryl Cole's Fight for This Love. I have got no idea what you're talking about. That sounds like one of those, like children's music. Cheryl Cole. Who's Cheryl Cole?
I will find out for you.
Well, he's going to find out for me straight away, if not sooner. Cheryl Cole. I've no idea who that is. Not, who's the 1970s disco dancing person called Cheryl? Cheryl Lynn. Cheryl Lynn. Cheryl Lynn I will listen to. Cheryl Cole, I don't know. I'm reserving my judgment. Here comes the message. Girls allowed. Oh, well, in that case, it's a big fat no from me.
No.
No!
Leading Britain's conversation, Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
This entire country is all out of laughs. Are you kidding me? Sue texts. Yeah, no, read that. Martin says, I thought Penny Mordaunt was about to break into it. I've read that. Chris says, let's try this one. Chris texts, I see the nasty party is rearing its head. All the country's problems are the fault of people on benefits. Benefit people. No! I'm on benefits as I have cerebral palsy, he said. If only these morons could walk in my shoes for a day, they'd stop and realise that they are just pathetic bullies. I didn't choose to have cerebral palsy, says Chris. Well, you should have thought of that before you chose to have cerebral palsy. You only have yourself to blame, Chris. You're holding this country back, traitor. That was a message for the Conservative Party. Let's have Belsize Park. Hello, Judy. You know what, Chris, with that kind of attitude, Suella Braverman is going to come over and stand on your dog. I can't believe I missed that story. Belsize Park. Judy.
Hello. It's just a fairly quick question. These conferences that the MPs go to, who pays for the MPs to go to the conferences?
Well, I would imagine that we do. I mean, we're paying their wages while they're there. I would be very surprised if we weren't paying their travel there and back and their hotel stay.
The only reason I'm asking is perhaps because you know everything. Could you tell me why?
That is true, yes.
Why did we build the Queen Elizabeth Conference Centre, conveniently placed opposite the House of Commons?
Yes.
That would cost not an extra penny.
Nothing.
To walk across the road and have your conference in.
I have the answer to that, Judy. As you would expect, because
I'm not going to like the answer, am I?
As you previously have correctly stated, I know everything. I do actually have the answer to this. It is because when they go away, then what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. They go there with the idea that they're going to get connecting rooms and put their most voluptuous assistants in those rooms, and while their husbands, wives, boyfriends and girlfriends are not in Manchester, then they can go, full-on mental and do all of the things that they wouldn't be able to get away with at home. That is the reason that they go.
Disgusting.
Awful.
Do you know what? I'm not surprised at that answer.
No.
But I mean,
bacchanalian orgies is what happens after all the speechifying is done.
Yes. Well,
as it's a room full of gyrating Tories, I wouldn't want to go. I mean, even if I had a ticket, I'd have another appointment.
So you can't answer my question. Why did we build the Queen Elizabeth Conference Centre?
I would imagine that I've got no idea. But I would be surprised if it wasn't something like. When was it built? Was it built under a Conservative administration?
It was built, I think, in about 86.
1986.
I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds Tory-ish, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Maggie
I'm
Thatcher,
not very good at politics.
I think there or thereabouts. Yes. Well, I would follow the money myself. Well, what's it used for, that thing? I mean, maybe it gets a lot of use. I've got no idea.
No, I've got no. That's why I phoned and asked you.
Yeah, well, I just gave you the answer. It's for sexual shenanigans. That's why they go away.
Okay, it was just a thought.
Yeah, it's a pretty unpleasant thought. I need a shower just having thought it. Yeah. All right, cheers, Judy. 0345 6060 973. Stu texts, when I saw Farage dancing, it was quite obvious the French bedbugs were in his pants getting their own back. Yeah, either that or he was having a fit. Alcohol may have been involved. Booze. 0345 6060 973. Carnforth. Hey, Annie.
Yep, Nick, how you doing?
Great, mate.
Good. I must say, like you, I must admit that I avoided the Tory party conference, other than Fishy's speech, because I just happened to turn the radio on, and there he was just beginning it, and I sort of horribly transfixed and thought, I'll just have to listen to what delights they've got.
An approaching oil slick, and you couldn't get out of the way.
Yes, that's right. And I felt the whole thing was very bizarre, wasn't it? He was constantly talking about change and about how awful politics was and that things had to be done differently. And yes, we must have change. And I was thinking, have you just mistaken it and thought that you were actually leader of the opposition?
This is the exact thing that the Republicans are doing. Every single thing that this government is going to do from now until the election is the precise thing that the Republicans are doing with Donald Trump. Every single trick in the book they are going to steal from the Republicans, because to a large extent it's the same money. The same money that are propelling the Republicans in the States are propelling the Conservative Party in this country. It's the same handful of evil billionaires who want to rule the world. Why? I don't know. Maybe they just don't have enough money. Maybe too much is still not enough.
That's right. And the actual, policies, such as they were very uninspiring and half-hearted, as if they couldn't even really be bothered. I mean, like tinkering with getting rid of A-levels and replacing it with some other weird, kind of exam.
Yeah.
And when really what they need to do is pay teachers more so that they don't leave, a quarter of them don't leave within the first 5 years.
Yeah, and make sure that the buildings that they're teaching in don't fall down on the kids.
Yeah, that's right. So, and everything was a bit left field and bizarre, like the smoking thing as well. And,
yeah, what was that about?
Yeah, I don't
That's
really know.
never going to come into law. I betcha that doesn't get into law.
No, I don't think so. I think, hasn't New Zealand just done something like that? But, yes, they were all just weird sort of no substance to anything, probably because they've just completely messed up everything, and they just know there's no point in talking about anything serious anymore.
Well, what they're in the business of doing now is offering us solutions to the problems that they have caused.
Yes, because it was waffling on about the police at one stage, wasn't he? And I thought, well, probably if you hadn't got rid of all those police in the first place, it wouldn't be in the state that it is in.
Yes.
Or they're in.
If they hadn't defunded the entire law and order system in this country, then we may have a bit more law and order. Yeah.
That's right. And also the NHS, when he was saying the usual thing about training more doctors and nurses, which they always say and is a load of nonsense anyway, but, they can't keep the ones they've got, so why even go on about training anymore when they don't pay them properly, and so they're all going off to Australia and Canada, and even Ireland apparently pays doctors double what they get here. So why not just hop over to Ireland? It's a beautiful country, lots of friendly people with good sense of humour. Sorry if I just stereotype the Irish, but you know what I mean. Why wouldn't you? I'd go and live in Ireland if I wasn't so absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
I'd go and live anywhere except for here at the moment.
Yes. I mean, it does rain all the time in Ireland, though, so there is that.
Well, I'm a bit used to it up here.
In
anyway.
Lancashire, yeah, you probably are. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't mind the rain.
Okay. Well, I suppose so. As soon as you hear his voice, then turn the radio off immediately, Annie. Otherwise, you might get infected. All right.
I should have done. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, there's an oil slick coming your way. Well, I mean, I could go through his speech, I suppose. All right, like the low points. I'll do that in a minute. It's all too painful. I can't stand it anymore. Oldbury, hello, Ranjit.
Hi, Nick. You okay?
Yes, I am great, mate. Are you frying tonight?
I have been. I'm just finishing up now.
Is your salubrious joint one of the fish and chip shops of the year? That seems to come out like every 2 weeks. The Nation's Fish and Chip Shop of the Year Awards. I'm sure there was one just last month, and there's another one now.
You've got to join these clubs, yeah, and you've got to pay membership, and then they take it in turns on who's going to win, yeah. Because I had a phone call a few years ago. It says you're being recommended by lots of people, and we're going to give you an award. I said, send it to this address. They says, you're going to have to pay £65 for registration. I said, okay. I said, tell me the names of these people that have recommended me. And they said, that's data protection. I tell you what, my number... Yeah, I said my number's data protected as well. Don't ring me again.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want to talk about, two things only. I forget Rishi Sunak. He's just run out of steam. I've been saying that to you now for weeks, right, that they have run out.
Keep in mind, Ranjit, that we're about to run out of time. You've got like a minute tops.
All right. You know Suella Braverman, yeah? Her speech's template was not much different from the Rivers of Blood. You know, it was exactly the same. You know, he mentioned rivers of blood. She said hurricanes.
Well, it's like Trump, like the Republicans. It's like Mexicans. They're sending us their worst people. They're rapists. They're murderers. Some are good people, I suppose. That.
Yeah. Okay. And the other one is, you know, Farage. I told you a few weeks ago he's looking for a platform, and he's found one now because he was trying to do the thing about the bank, and he's going to fight for the little people. He's that near that. He's tried America. He's Johnny No Mates in America. Now he's with Priti Patel, who's no mates either. You know what I mean? He's just... You know what? The public are right. Just call a damn election, even if you want to call it next week, right? Let us put us out of our misery. Yeah. And now, because he ain't building HS2, he's dismantling it all. Why don't you just mothball it and let somebody else have a go at it?
Well, there's an interesting not a development exactly, but his decision then leads to an interesting conundrum, and I'll come to that in a minute as well. But, Ranjit, sorry you had to wait so long for such a brief period on the air, but, them's the break. I'll blame the European Union. Or Jeremy Corbyn. It's most certainly one of the two. Thanks for that, mate.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Do not panic! Do not panic! We are trained professionals!
The government is a trained professionals. Is her? Stan texts, Mordaunt's speech was reminiscent of Goebbels' Total War speech. One was delivered by a far-right fanatic intent on inflicting misery and pain on the population. The other was delivered by Joseph Goebbels. Well, as long as you don't mention the Nazis, Stan. Elaine says, believe Sunak's new initiative regarding the gradual phasing out of tobacco products might be linked to something I read today. Namely, the Tory party recently accepted a £350,000 donation from the vaping industry. I thought the vaping industry was the very same people as the cigarette people. Aren't they the same? I'd be surprised if they weren't. There may be some crossover. Who knows? It just seems a bit weird, that whole... it was just so sort of left field, so not what the Tories are. I mean, they're all about, more drilling, more oil, more coal, more this, more that, more everything that's bad, and then suddenly they're concerned about our health. No, it's got to be something other than that. 0345 6060 973. Wembley. Hello, Jeffrey.
Oh, hello there.
Hello there.
How's it going?
Great,
nice
mate.
to talk to you again. So I had a little, an analogy. I keep on hearing, a lot of people, this week, talking about how Boris Johnson, bringing him back into the picture, and how he got Brexit done. And I just thought to myself, it's like me doing my driving test, doing my theory, and I'm like, well, yeah, okay, I'll just do that. A, B, B, C, A, D, A. Here you go. So you've failed. You've got everything wrong. No, but I got it done. Here you go.
You got it done, though. That is right, yeah.
You
did get it done.
License.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have a license because you haven't got anything right. No, I got it done. But and then bring it into... Brexit, well, do you know what? You can't have free trade agreements. You can't have free, being able to, move from country to country. Oh, but by the way, as well, those boats that are coming over from France and Belgium and wherever else, you can't send them back because you got Brexit done the wrong way. And so I just feel like a lot of people don't understand the ramifications of what this getting Brexit done actually means. You failed. You got 0%. But apparently,
which is a passing grade as far as the Conservative Party is concerned.
Yeah.
All right.
But
thanks a lot, Jeffrey.
That was my point.
Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Simon says, did you hear about the drunk Tory delegate at the conference who urinated in public in a hotel lobby into the very expensive vase and then fell over and smashed it? Reported in Manchester Evening News, but no names given. Seems like a metaphor for the whole party. And where was Boris Johnson while this was happening, by the way?
I can't comment
on that. Carl texts, the guide dog story is best. The dog started growling, in fact. Yeah, well, that's why she crossed the room to deliberately stand on that dog. It probably had a red collar, something like that. Just set her off. Cruella Braverman just furious at the very idea. How totally on brand is that, though? She stood on a guide dog. Yep, that sounds like her, all right. Orpington. Hello, Luke.
Hi there. Good evening.
Hello there.
Hello there. So for me, I thought I'd give it a chance. I've listened to some of the key speeches, especially the Prime Minister's.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed. I was impressed. I must say, I haven't voted Conservatives for some years, and I used to vote Tony Blair, believe it or not, at some point. But I wanted to give him a chance, and I'll be honest, I was coming up with all sorts of things. I was thinking, well, finally, common sense. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I don't agree with all of it, but I agree with most of it. And I was thinking, boy, if they implement half, then fantastic. I mean, instead of the H2O, what it's called, HS2, instead of that going across and then up, they're saying, hundreds of projects up north. I think, well, all over, to be honest, but
That's surely better, isn't it? I mean, get rid of the 20 mile speed limit. It's fantastic. I'm all for that. Get rid of
Why? The amount of people that have been whining about the 20 mile an hour speed limit. Oh, for crying out loud! Will you stop moaning, people?
Okay, fine. But I just say I think it's a good little thing. It's a good little add-on. It's not amazing. But look, what did we need? We had a few years of instability, leaders coming in and out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then we want a bit of stability. We've got that through in 1 year so far. I think another year of stability, plus them change some ideas. Look, it's come up with ideas.
Stability. Define stability under Rishi Sunak. What has become more stable?
The Prime Minister's been there for a year for a start.
Well, that is true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he lasted longer than a lettuce. That is true.
But I want a stable economy. One that's good for business. Yes, they could have talked more about this.
And you think that's what we have under the Conservative administration?
I know it's a bit of a joke, but in seriousness, the economy is growing quite well, considering
the economy is growing quite well compared to France, Germany, etc. Well, that's completely untrue. You know, it does not have the benefit of being true. The other thing, but apart from that,
I don't know what your feelings are towards this the climate change sort of thing. So I'm all for pushing it back 5 years. I mean, too much about that stuff. I'm all for looking after the planet in various ways, but not, charging everyone X amount who can't afford it and those who can.
Charging everybody a totally made-up figure that they just pulled out of their ears, to pretend it's actually a thing. Yeah, every person in this country is going to have to spend £15,000 on meeting net zero. It's a complete lie. Right. No such figure is even close to being true.
And if the climate does go up 1.5 degrees, I'm actually for that. It's quite nice for us.
Right. Oh, I see. So is this a listener with material?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what that is, Luke. Just trying to get a rise out of me. But I am calm and serene. There's nothing that you can say that is going to be more offensive than what I've heard coming out of the TV this week, Luke. Try as you might. Now, be off with you. Ian texts, I'm visiting my parents for the weekend and I came across your show on LBC. It takes me right back to being 13. I am 35 now, he says, and listening to you on... It takes me right back to being 13, brackets, I'm 35 now, and listening to you on Real Radio, says Ian. Well, you remember it more than I do. I don't remember very much about that at all. Alan says, Nick, under no circumstance can anyone support Sunak, who has no integrity, no accountability and no professionalism, but has a track record of being a typical multi-faced con with whom tomorrow will never come to benefit society. Wow, it started okay. I think it fell apart right at the end there, Alan. Did that make any sense?
No.
A little bit. Less so as it went on, but the beginning was super, Alan. You want to work on increasing the length of the beginning and excising the length of the end. Something like that. I'll leave it with you. Edinburgh. Hello, Martin.
Hi, Nick. I think when you look at the Tories, you have to be mindful of the fact that they are at least holding back this tsunami of woke nonsense. When, Labour...
Is this 2 in a row on the Nicky Abbott show?
It certainly is.
Oh, no.
I think when you look at Labour, they are going to ultimately undermine freedom of speech. They're going to undermine equality legislation.
They're going to undermine freedom of speech. What do you mean by that?
So I live in Scotland, and here in Scotland, the Labour Party, along with the SNP and the Lib Dems, helped to pass the hate crime bill, which essentially criminalises certain forms of speech that some people find offensive or insulting. So we can find significant, tangible examples of Labour attacking freedom of speech. I can give other examples as well.
Well, I've got a better example. If you complain loudly about this government, that is breaking the law.
Under which law, though?
Under the Public Nuisance Act, or whatever it was called, some long-winded title.
Public Nuisance Act?
Yeah.
So people are being arrested for criticising the government as we speak?
Well, I don't know about as we speak. It's 11:45. There's probably not many crowds on the street at the moment, but you surely do know that if they don't take to you, you can be arrested, even if you're just one person.
Who's been arrested, though, for criticising the government?
Who's been arrested for whatever it was that you just said?
So the bill that I cited has a maximum penalty of 7 years in jail.
Right, well, who's been arrested? No one. Like I said, 2 in a row on the Nicky Abbott show. Just another pain in the neck, just trying to get a rise out of me. Like, this week hasn't been annoying enough. I've got annoying callers. Kate says, speaking of 1984, the photo of Braverman stamping on that guide dog's tail paints 1,000 words. Wasn't it Orwell who said, if you want a picture of the future, imagine a kitten heel stamping on a dog's tail? Forever. Or something like that, says Kate. Yes. That is exactly what Orwell said. Yeah. And, you know, like that last guy, trying to kid on that the Labour Party are about restricting freedom of speech and then coming up with the hate crime. Yeah. What people like that want is to yell epithets across the street. I mean, the clue's in the name. Hate. That's what you want more freedom to scream. Hate. On the other hand, if you protest against the government can have you arrested. Yes, there's a woman in jail at this moment for holding up a sign outside a court that said something like, you can decide on the case depending on your conscience. Words to that effect. The exact same words that are chiselled into the stone of the building she was standing outside. And she's in jail for that. So that last guy can take a running jump at himself. And I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What in blazes goes on inside that head of yours?
0345 6060 973. James texts, what happened to Rishi's NHS waiting lists? He says 3 more strike days this week, 120,000 more cancelled appointments, but apparently everything's going to be fine if we vote these Tories out and get Rishi in on the case. Oh, wait, says James. Yeah, it's worse than that. Have you seen what they're going to do, or what they've threatened to do about the striking doctors? I'll come to that in a minute. Nigel says, I heard that woman Penny Mordaunt shouting at conference members to stand up. Rishi Sunak had to shout, I am standing up. Is that not the same woman who followed our King Charles about during the coronation with a huge sword? One to watch, says Nigel. 0345 6060 973. Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Your voice is sounding great this week.
Thanks.
I don't normally have a go at listeners, but I can't resist this one. Your guy who was saying he might vote for Sunak because the stability in his stable. The man stood behind the lectern and used the word change 30 times in his speech. That is not stable.
That's true, yes. That's the opposite of stability, yeah. Change, yeah.
Stable is what happened to any other guy about freedom of speech stuff. I hope he's out protesting the arrest of those people who got arrested for having banners saying "Not my king" and string.
Yes.
And they got arrested.
Yep.
For that.
Well, there were people that were going up to protest at the Manchester conference, and they had their coach corralled. Did you see that? Those nice people who were on that coach, those perfectly decent, reasonable people. They weren't hooligans. They weren't youngsters. They weren't rock and rollers.
Rock and roll!
They were just, perfectly normal, middle-class, concerned citizens. And the police surrounded their coach and said that, you can't go any further than this. We got laws about that, sunshine. Yeah, this is a really frightening country now. I mean, it is quite alarming. I mean, I do sometimes think on this show, am I going to be arrested going home? I mean, I know it sounds like a crazy thing to say, but, I look at my rearview mirror and think, well, am I being tailed?
Yeah.
That's what they've done to me.
It is worrying, and these laws sneak in, and they don't use them for a while very visibly, but they're there.
Yeah.
the threats there. It's quite worrying. But I've got a bone to pick with your producer, because one of the reasons I rang up was this video that Sunak made before the conference.
Yeah.
And do you know how they knew it was made before the conference?
Go on.
It was made in Downing Street.
Right.
Which means it had to be made on, the latest could have been Saturday. Because he was at conference on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, when he was constantly saying, no decision's been made. He made the bloody video in Downing Street.
Yeah.
Well, how stupid is that?
I mean, I don't believe a single solitary word that man says. I mean, I guess I gave him the benefit of the doubt when he came on and he said,
this government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
Because you remember when he came in, he was, even people who didn't like the Tories, they went through COVID, and he was the guy that was handing out the money. I mean, I know it was our money, and much of it has mysteriously gone missing, and we aren't supposed to ask any questions about that. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves on the wrong arm, on the strong arm of the law. But people actually, out of all of them, they actually had positive feelings towards him, and he's trashed that within days. I mean, within hours, after saying he's got integrity and accountability and professionalism, he reappointed Cruella Braverman, thereby blowing up his initial argument. And since then, there hasn't been a single solitary thing that he has said or done that recommends himself to the British public.
No, I quite agree. And going back to his speech, people are saying, what did he mention? A-levels form. What did he mention? Smoking pot.
Yes.
I can't explain why, because when you're building a speech, he started off saying long-term thinking. So then he threw the A-levels in. Well, they aren't going to come in for 12 or 13 years, if they ever come in at all.
Yes.
And the smoking thing isn't going to come in for years. It was a demonstration of long-term thinking.
Right.
And the way you build speeches like that is you start off professing something to cover the lie at the end. The lie at the end, of course, is we're going to stop HS2, and we're going to chuck a load of money at Red Wall seats to the mayors to try and buy votes, which is incredibly short-term. But if you start off with long-term things, you lull the audience into thinking, oh, yeah, everything he says is long-term, then you throw the short-term bit in at the end. That's how we build speeches. Seriously.
That's well spotted there, Mike. You should be running Keir Starmer's campaign, maybe. Looks like you have inside knowledge to me.
I'd love to give him half a chance.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he needs the help right now, but, anything could happen in the next couple of months. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. The old bait and switch, eh? Highly suspicious. What a slippery fishy. Nigel says, nope, read that one. Theresa text. Not that Theresa, surely. The Conservatives will win the next election as Labour can't be elected because you cannot have a Sir as head of the party. It is preposterous to think that you could. No one with an ounce of common sense would vote for Sir Starmer ever, says Theresa. Right. OK. Sure. Why not? I can't be bothered to argue with these people anymore. I'll sum up that argument. 0345 6060 973. Macclesfield. Hello, Sue.
Hello there, Nick.
Sue.
I'm beginning to reconsider what I'm about to say to you after you talked to Mike.
Oh, yes.
But I'll say it anyway.
Go on.
I think you're really on form tonight, and those lawsuits will be flooding in tomorrow. Yeah, great. You've made me laugh tonight in very bleak times, as we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought for a minute you were actually serious when you said she'd punched a doggy in the face.
No, she stood on the dog and punched the blind man in the face.
That after. Yeah, but
Which
anyway,
was so
that yurt on the Welsh Hills, I think you need to go further afield.
Further than Wales, I think that I can find somewhere that you wouldn't be able to see the next living person with binoculars, so
right,
would
good
suit
for you.
me just fine. All right, bring your own camping gas. All right.
All right, then.
Okay,
Nick, all the best.
I'll see you in the tent. Thanks a lot, Sue. Stu texts, you have the Royal National Institute for the Blind and the Royal National Lifeboat Institute. Maybe Braverman thought the dog was helping immigrants across the channel and went for it as an enemy of the people. An enemy of the people! Quite right. Can't trust those dogs. Julian says the only answer to all this is a brand new party based on principles and real ethics with a clear vision and a 10-year plan for our country. I will start it. Not this weekend, as I'm a bit tired, but I'll get to it next week and keep you updated on the progress. Well, appreciate it, Julian.
Thank you.
Someone's got to do it. Mike texts, I thought the best moment from the conference was when the Foreign Secretary, James Not So Cleverly, told everyone that Labour will all talk and no action. As for the Prime Minister, in his speech he accused Starmer of campaigning to get Corbyn elected as PM. How desperate are they? Doesn't Fishy realise that Starmer expelled Corbyn from the party? That's how much Skier regards Jezza. Yeah, I think it's all Jeremy Corbyn's fault. Whatever is the issue at hand, it's almost certainly the fault of the weird beardy. And get your front garden sorted out, Jezza. That's an embarrassment. Looks like a jungle out there. Lucy says, is it time for Sunak to send cigarettes to Rwanda? You know, we're going to be sending prisoners not to Rwanda, but somewhere else, because we ain't got no room for prisoners anymore. We lock up so many people in this country that we've actually run out of space. Can you believe that? No. Yeah. And so now we're going to send them somewhere else. It's like we're co-opting the rest of the world to clean up after us. So I'll get to that in a while. And there was Sunak's speech. I don't know if I can bring myself to relive it. Even for the purpose of mocking it, I don't know if I can stand it anymore. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Let's see now. Is there a quick one into the news? No. They're all too long or too serious. So I'll get to those as well, apart from the ones that I don't. It's out of my control. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm super. Thanks for asking. David texts, after the Tories cancelled HS2 to Leeds in 2021, Rishi decided to level things up by cancelling the route on the other side of the Pennines. And Steve says, I found the best way to save 45 minutes of your life is to listen to the conference speech at 4 times normal speed. Both funny visually and audiotronically, he says. Oh, he said, today we went beyond ideology and put the people first again. Is that from the same message? I don't know. Can't tell. Yeah, he's putting people first. Yeah, that doesn't include you, by the way. People, not you people. Other people, different people, people with money. His favourite type. Ian says, if they ban smoking, what about all the money they'll lose in duty? Luckily, the meat tax will plug the shortfall. Yeah, but you won't be able to get any meat because your local council is going to restrict the amount of times you're allowed to go to the shop. 15-minute cities. I mean, like I said, the Tory party are going to be doing absolutely everything that the Republican Party are doing from now on. If you want to know what the Tory party are going to say tomorrow, then listen to what the Republican Party say today. Because it's the same people. The same people doing the same things. I mean, I'm amazed that we don't actually have book burnings in this country now, because they got them in America. They have people going through schools, taking out books they don't like, and burning them. And the dinglings are showing up and firing their guns into the air. Woo! Let's burn books. It's what Jesus wants. You know, those people. I mean, the one thing that we don't have in this country is this sort of cult-like devotion to fringe religions. That we don't have here. We're turning our backs and have, in a lot of cases, turned them completely on religion. But in America, they've got a way to go. I mean, they're getting there eventually, but slowly, more slowly than us. But other than that, I think it's the exact same thing. This 15-minute cities thing is a perfect example. They're just going to be running on conspiracy theory nonsense. Your local council is going to restrict your movements and you won't be able to drive out of your area to go to the shops, but for a restricted number of times per year. They'll put it on your permanent record. That's what people are... 15-minute cities, the idea is that you can reach everything you need on an ordinary day by 15 minutes walk or cycle. What they're describing are villages. I thought people loved villages. I thought that was the Tory voters' favourite habitat, villages. But now they're frightening. They managed to take something perfectly reasonable and a good idea and turn it into some whack job conspiracy theory nonsense. Same with global warming. Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory to stop Donald Trump using so much hairspray.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
You just don't. That's what's going to happen from now on, I'm telling you. And they haven't even started to ramp up the misinformation campaign that's going to come through social media. I mean, talk about a hurricane. That is going to blow through social media like nothing you've ever seen before. I don't think people are really ready for what's about to happen in this country. But a couple of months before the next election, we're going to have a tsunami wave of misinformation coming your way. It's going to be precisely directed to you personally. Whatever it is that you've looked up on the internet, your interests. I mean, the internet knows more about you than probably you know about you. It's all gone on your file. Every search, every internet site, every message that you've sent, everything about you is going to go into the big machine and they're going to spit it out. And if you like cats, then it'll be, do you realise that the Labour Party are considering culling all cats? Vote Conservative. Stuff like that. And with the hope that there's going to be just enough gullible people out there to swallow this stuff. I mean, it worked for Brexit, didn't it? If it can work for that, there has been a total, utter and complete disaster. The opposite of every promise they made has come true. I mean, like this.
We could have cheaper food, clothing and footwear straight away by getting rid of the protectionist anti-trade tariffs that the EU imposes. And it would be very good for the British people and it would provide certainty. And I think once there's certainty, the country will begin to reunite.
Yeah. Is any of that true? No, none of it at all. It's the opposite of everything that bloke just said. And they got it through anyway. By a misinformation campaign that the likes of which we hadn't seen previously, but the advance in artificial intelligence has been so great since Brexit that what we're about to see is just going to be buckle up, everyone. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Let's have Glasgow, Chrissy.
Hi, Nick.
Chrissy,
how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good, excellent. I was speaking to a friend today and that I hadn't seen for a while, and I concluded I was going to call you tonight and speak about this. I've been quite busy all week and I've missed the Tory party conference and everything that's been getting spoken about. And I don't mean to boast, And I do intend on kind of catching up and watching clips when I've caught things here. And
don't do it.
No.
You've got away free, Chrissy. Just
Right.
keep running. Don't look back.
Okay. I was busy all week watching paint dry, and I simply couldn't fit in the Tory conference.
Right.
But I saw a clip of Victoria Derbyshire holding some female transient Tory. I can't remember who she'll be going in a minute. Who she is.
Yes.
But holding her to account over 3 lies, and she wouldn't let it go. I think we've probably all seen the clip. She said, "They've said this, and this. That's all lies. What do you say?" And so the subject of them lying all the time just wouldn't leave my head. And I thought, it's a fundamental value that we try to instill in children, the thing about honesty and not lying. And when I was raising my kids, I would always say to them, people believe you more if you show that you're fallible, if you show that you're relatable. People will believe your sincerity. And I was talking in relation to apologies. And I said, if you can show that you make mistakes and you can be wrong and you own up to that, people will suddenly their guard will come down, they'll forgive you. And I don't understand why the Tories don't, or in fact any politician, try this as a tactic. Actually just be completely truthful. There was a movie years ago, I cannot remember what it's called, and it posited the notion of truth in advertising, and one of the advertising executives came out with a slogan about Volvo's boxy but good or something.
Right.
And the whole point of the movie was that the truth in advertising thing actually works. But people were like, you can't tell people what's the truth about the product we're trying to advertise. They'll never buy it.
Yes.
But in actual fact, what they discovered was that people took it on board because it was entirely believable.
Right.
Because it was plausible and they could trust it.
Yes,
So
and then you felt more
you-
positive towards that brand.
Yes. And you feel, I don't know, you don't feel quite so hoodwinked. I mean, our level of trust has gone through the floor so much. I don't know how it could get any lower. And I think,
I think they'll find a way.
yes, they will keep digging. They will keep looking and probably strike treasure somehow. But I think if Keir Starmer, and humour me with this fantasy, but if Keir Starmer were to stand there, for example, and say one day, listen, folks, I know I'm not the best looking guy, I'm not charismatic, I don't have this, I don't do that, I've got Sir in front of my name, and but listen, guys, check out this policy. I think it's really good. And if people were just that little bit self-deprecating,
yes,
they would go, "Oh, don't be so hard on yourself, mate. No, here's a stand-up bloke. He's all right."
It sounds very. But what you're saying is
personality.
Yeah, what you're saying to me sounds quite dangerous, because I think you're giving the Tories ideas. What you're saying, sincerity would work, and they're thinking, if I can fake sincerity, I've got it made.
But I don't think you can fake it. I think people can sniff it a mile off. I think that's the whole point. And the thing is that if they were truthful and sincere, I think the ground would open up and swallow them, and Satan would reclaim them.
Well, if that's true, maybe they should actually give it a go. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Chrissy. 0345 6060 973. Andrew texts, our esteemed leader has insisted that the Tories are the party of change. Some of the changes are, you have to follow Cruella Blabbermouth's example and stamp on the nearest dog's tail while shouting, "Damn you, Jeremy Corbyn." OK, I think some work's needed on that one. Sheila says, I want to know why there has been so little media coverage of Rishi Sunak not providing his WhatsApp messages to the COVID inquiry. Yes, another one of these, Bodge.
I can't comment on that.
He's still looking for his phone. I looked it up. You don't have to keep your messages on your WhatsApp messages on your phone. You can change your phone and get your WhatsApp messages from the cloud. WhatsApp remembers. You can get your old WhatsApp messages on your new phone. You don't have to save them. They're just there. So let's do that, Rishi Sunak. Just look it up on the internet. It's perfectly simple. Do a Google search on how do I get my old WhatsApp messages. I mean, you'd think somebody with technological knowledge at number 10 would have leapt to Rishi Sunak's aid and retrieved them for him, assuming he's got nothing to hide. Assuming he's legal, decent, honest and true. Assuming that he is a man who is concerned with integrity.
This government will have integrity.
Yeah, sure it will. Sure it will. This government will have integrity on its old phone, but sadly I dropped that in the sea and we can't retrieve it. Very unfortunate. Curious, keeps happening to Tories over and over and over again. Why are they doing business on their private phones, you might ask? And if you do ask that, then you'll quite likely wake up chained to a bed in Rwanda.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk.
Let's talk to choosing them in the order in which they came. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good evening, Nick.
Jan.
Hi. Oh, gosh, what a week it's been. I'm coming in. I want to just have say something about this conference, although I didn't hear it. I've been reading about it, or, quotes of it and things.
You couldn't stand to sit there in front of it and have it pour all over you.
Yeah, because I was thinking it's happened in the week also that the OED, the English Dictionary, has added some new terms into the lexicon. You know what I mean? They do
like
every
what?
year. All the main dictionaries do that.
Yeah, like what?
And I thought, but I mean, I think that last year they had a public vote to pick some terms for the dictionary. And,
never ask the public what they think.
Warning.
The danger is they might tell you.
Yeah, because I think it would be interesting to know what new term it might be coined to describe this government, because it's incredible. Like some of the people now, it's just like what some of them said, like when about Sunak's abandoning the the HS2, the last leg of it up from Birmingham to Manchester. Like so many different people are putting a slant in it. You have yours, picking the words they want to describe what this government's actually doing. Like the chief executive of the Northern Powerhouse, he described accused the government of misleading the public, and that this new scheme that he spoke of in his changing Britain or whatever, Sunak, he said it's a fairy tale. And then the shadow transport secretary described the plans as being like something so symbolic. It's like something being written on the back of a fag packet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But none of this will appear in the Oxford English Dictionary.
No. But I'm just saying this. I'm just saying how there must be. There's all these things. Jan. Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah. Okay.
No. We're not calm yet.
All right.
You can't just say yes and then blast off in another direction.
Yeah, sorry.
You must finish a sentence. Just pick one of the sentences that you start and decide to finish it. Okay?
Oh, I thought I had. Yeah. Sorry. So one of the words that could be like a permacrisis is
permacrisis. Right. That sounds about right. Yeah. Permacrisis. Yes.
But I'm thinking in terms of, like, how they have these words like greenwashing that's used to describing, that it's used to persuade the public that something is environmentally friendly,
when it isn't.
It's just a
yes,
spin.
Exactly.
And there's a new one. There's a fairly new one. I think called racism laundering. That's being levelled at.
Racism laundering. It's got to be called something other than that. I mean, that's first of all, that's two words.
It's to do with denial of. It's aimed at Suella and what's her name? The other one.
Priti Patel.
Oh no, they do not.
Kemi Badenoch, right?
They do not. The ones who are being used to promote bigoted and racist policies.
Yeah, but they seem to be quite gleeful in their task, but it does appear to me as because if you look around the Tory conference, the actual members, they all look the blooming same. None of them, almost none of them at all, look like Cruella Braverman or Priti Patel or Kemi Badenoch, or practically zero. They all look like the boars that prop up the bar at the golf club. So you would have to think there's a bit of a disconnect, really, between the people on the stage in a lot of cases and the audience that they're trying to ingratiate themselves with. So either one side is using the other side. You choose as to which side that is.
I mean, I don't know whether there is going to be some word that maybe you'll think of. You'll invent a word, or someone will come up with a word to describe what's actually been going on, what this government's done, and what the latest.
I got a word.
Dreadful.
There's a word for you.
Dreadful.
Dreadful.
the billions that has been lost. You know what I mean? It's gone missing.
Yeah, well, we don't need to investigate that, Jan. The government has decided it is not in the public interest to investigate it. That's actually true.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it's really disheartening, isn't it? It's so disheartening, the whole thing. All these false promises.
It is.
Where are we all going?
I tell you what is most disheartening is that it seems to me that the biggest heist in history has occurred in this country over the last 13 years. More money has gone missing in this country than in any other place at any other time. There can't be a bigger heist in history than what has happened in this country, and absolutely no one is going to jail for it. No one is going to be prosecuted. No one is going to pay a penalty. Nothing is going to happen.
And they say, I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse because it's like even just before under 24 hours before Sunak announced that he was abandoning, in the conference.
HS2.
He was abandoning. Yeah, a property was sold. HS2 didn't even know. They had paid 1.5 million for a property, but
they didn't need to. Yeah,
that was axed, and hundreds of people in that route that Sunak's now abandoned.
Yeah, it's all highly curious. Yeah, but don't
think so much waste.
Yeah, but waste is not the word that I would use. But but don't let it trouble you, Jan, because that way leads straight to jail. You will not pass go. You will not collect £200. Thanks a lot, Jan. Yeah, the land. Everybody should keep their eyes peeled as to what happens to the land. The company behind HS2 bought a property worth over £1.5 million under a compulsory purchase order less than 24 hours before Fishy Sunak announced the northern leg of the scheme had been axed. Fishy?
Yes.
You bet. A property agent who has acted on behalf of dozens of households impacted by compulsory purchase orders told the I newspaper that he had finalised a deal on an estate in Staffordshire for more than £1.5 million on Tuesday afternoon. While HS2 trains from Euston in London will travel at high speed to Birmingham, well, we don't know whether it's going to be Euston or Old Oak Common, wherever the hell that is. The Eye says they will now continue on the existing West Coast main line at slower speeds to Manchester, meaning properties bought by HS2 and paid for by the Department of Transport, as in us poor dopes who pay taxes, will not be required. Those properties will not be required for the cancelled northern leg. So I wonder what will happen to all that land. Land which was bought by us taxpayers as compensation because a railway was going to go through it and was therefore unsellable on the open market. But now, a railway is not going through that land. Suddenly that land has become much more valuable. Shall we play a game and guess which Tory donor developer will be buying that land at 10 pence an acre, with planning permission pre-granted to spray thousands of charmless little houselets that they'll sell on and make billions? I mean, at this point, would you be more surprised if that did or did not happen? The Eye also reveals that the Department for Transport will still have to pay tens of millions of pounds in compulsory purchase orders that were already in negotiation before Sunak axed HS2's northern leg on Wednesday. The government now intends to begin the process of selling those properties in the coming months, while at the same time completing purchases on further properties that it is contractually obliged to. One agent from one big estate agents firm said he believed the government's current bill of just under £600 million for buying property along the northern leg of the line could increase to as much as £700 million once the property purchases already in the pipeline are completed. £700 million. What do you reckon they'll get for a property worth £700 million? A fiver? To our closest personal friends? The government said any property that is no longer required for HS2 will be sold, and a programme is being developed to do this. Yeah, I bet. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the programme to sell it was what precipitated the decision to cancel the HS2 project in the first place. Because it would work out pretty well, wouldn't it? I mean, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head with this lot. Hey! Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think.
Absolutely.
0345 6060 973. Ed texts, the 15-minute cities are what every city, town, estate and village once were as recently as the 1970s. Local amenities rather than a hypermarket with a car park 4 times its size you can't walk to. That's right. Now, it makes you wonder why a conspiracy theory has come up around the idea of the 15-minute cities, which is essentially what villages used to be like, as Ed says. Why? Because it's not, these don't come out of nowhere. These conspiracy theory, this craziness, is put into people's minds. It's like this grassroots thing. It's astroturfing. It's an organisation that makes it look as though it is a lot of interested people, grassroots support, thousands of unconnected people all come together with one hope and a dream, and they put up a sports stadium in their town. AstroTurfing is where a billionaire floods the social media or whatever it is with adverts, making it appear as though it's not just one person or one group of people. It's like a lot of interested parties all coming together as one. It's the same with these conspiracy theories. They don't just come out of nowhere. These ideas are planted in people's minds, and if it's in America and it's in this country too, then almost no one has mentioned 15-minute cities here. We just jumped straight to the conspiracy theory. And who benefits? That's what you have to keep in mind. Who would benefit if such a thing was cancelled? And it would be, partly, I would imagine, the companies that provide petrol and diesel that you put in your car that you have to use to drive to the hypermarket on the edge of town. I'm sure you can fill in the gaps. There's other people as well. But, mostly from the donor class.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
What's he got to be depressed about?
The Labour Party slogan. I heard it for the first time on the news bulletin just now. Let's get Britain's future back. That is the worst political slogan I've ever heard in my life. Keir Starmer, are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? Let's get Britain's future back? What does that even mean? It sounds like that movie with a kid and a skateboard. How are they going to arrive at the conference? DeLorean? Let's get Britain's future back? Oh, my God. Are you trying to lose this election? I mean, you try to think and your brain starts to spin. Are we going forwards to go backwards, or are we going backwards to go forwards? What is it that we're trying to get back, and how can you get our future back if it hasn't happened yet? Oh, that is painful. Please, make it stop. Bath. Hello, John.
Hello.
John.
I don't know where to begin because
John, this is a very, very, very bad line. Can you get to a window or higher ground or...
What's it like now?
Better.
Okay. I don't know where to begin, but first of all, the fellow that rang from Scotland and who was trolling you a bit...
Oh, yeah.
I'd like him to walk down Glasgow, the high street there. Or
Sucky Hall Street. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I know it well. Walk down there and start spouting out about the Conservatives. And we'll see how... he's actually the reason why a lot of Scottish people hate us.
Yeah, I think he was just a wind-up motion, so we need to concern ourselves no more with him.
No, but do you know what it is, though? It's a group of minor public school boys sitting around trying to entertain themselves.
Yeah.
They would have a girlfriend, but they're scared if they touched them that they would melt.
It's the same kind of thing as Boris Johnson allegedly burning a 50-quid note in front of some tramp. Any thoughts about that, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Can't comment on that. Keeping stum about that.
I was going to say also about Suella Braverman. I mean, I don't know if you recall the film The Omen, and there was the satanic dogs that would attack.
Yes.
I think that was... Suella Braverman was that in reverse.
Yeah.
She just went for a guide dog.
Yeah.
And that's, she's like, the antithesis of, the complete opposite... whatever she is, of this dog is just up there and she goes there and steps on it.
Yeah. She crossed the room to stamp on a blind person's dog while punching the blind person in the face. Can you believe that?
My God. well, this is the point, and as for, we got to stand up and fight.
What the hell for? What is it that... I didn't really understand what she was yelling about. What was she talking about? That was... It was almost as though she'd forgotten her speech and just was repeating the same line over and over again until it was time for her to go.
I think they've lost their stuff. I could use a better word than that, but I'm not going to. They've lost it because they realise they're on a sticky wicket. And they know that, it's like all bets are off. They're just coming out with anything under the sun. So as for Richie Sunak, I mean, crying out loud. But look, you know the thing about cigarettes?
Yeah.
And he wants to ban it. And,
not going to happen. Bet you.
But first of all, aren't they trying to decriminalise marijuana?
No.
Now, the point is, though...
Who's trying to decriminalise marijuana?
Well, no, not the
Not this lot.
But the idea is, the police don't even bother with people in the streets in Portobello Road anymore, or in
well, according to Sunak, no crime is an insignificant crime, and according to Braverman, all crime must be investigated, apart from the crimes that they themselves are accused of. Those crimes we can just ignore.
But what is he suggesting? People smoke marijuana, neat marijuana without any tobacco? I mean, young people, I mean, they're just handing this stuff over to the drug dealers. They're going to give you some tobacco and some marijuana now.
You kind of lost me there.
Well, because, if you're a young guy, look, young people smoke marijuana at young ages nowadays.
Yeah.
You're talking 14, 15, 16.
Right, okay, probably not a good idea, kids.
No, I don't think so either. But the point is, they can't go and buy it in the shop, and they do smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
And people are relaxing. They don't actually bother arresting people for marijuana use. They're going to probably buy the same stuff off a dealer. So it's like prohibition all over again.
Well, you mean they're going to buy tobacco off a dealer?
Along with marijuana.
Right. Right.
I mean, they don't have joint-up thinking. It's just they come out with these silly sound bites that don't make any sense. And what I can't understand as well with Richie Sunak, it's like he'd be saying, the system is broken, and he took a leaf out of your book. He was saying that the short-term view is always being
short-termism is what will do for us. Yes, exactly.
But they invented it.
They certainly seem to live by it. I don't know about they invented short-termism, but it seems to be the sort of thing that defines them. Short-term fixes to problems that, in a lot of cases, they themselves have caused.
This is the guy that presided over the crash. You
could say presided over or precipitated.
Yeah, exactly. And he made an absolute fortune and refused to deal with the select committee.
Huge.
And we made him a bloody chancellor.
Well, we didn't make him the chancellor. The most that we did, and it was a small number of us, was vote for him as an MP. How's that working out for you, kids?
Dreadful.
Yeah,
you were saying earlier on that you reckon you're being followed and you might be arrested. I think I'm going to be with you in a cell.
Well, John, you might be in the boot.
Yeah, I reckon so. To be honest, no, because I've always been pretty outspoken on the radio about it, and it's like I don't care because
it's all gone on your permanent record. I want you to know that.
I know the Stasi is after us.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Keep your eyes peeled, John. Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, this ban on smoking, incrementally raising the minimum age to buy tobacco. Now, I don't think that anybody should smoke tobacco. I think it's the stupidest drug that has ever been invented. And you could add vaping to that as well. Because the kids seem to be into vaping. Now, they're not vaping because they used to smoke cigarettes. And they're trying the supposedly healthy alternative. That's not what's happening. They've gone straight from nothing to vaping. Which is the stupidest thing. It's even stupider than people who smoke cigarettes. Because old people who smoke cigarettes... when old people were young and they started out on their lifetime of coughing up phlegm, the cigarettes were sold as, a healthy way to start the day. The cornerstone to any nutritious breakfast. And so, being as how they are so incredibly addictive, deliberately so, then I understand that people, once you start and you get hooked, then that's pretty much it for the rest of your life, unless you really, really, really want to stop and you want to go through a lot of pain in order to make that happen. I get that. So you would perhaps want to swap from the tobacco cigarettes to vaping in order to get that nicotine hit. I understand that too. Now, I read some report in America that said vaping should be banned immediately. Some surgeon, he was saying, because it heats up the steam, whatever you call it, the vapor, to such an extent that it is essentially boiling your lungs. Now, I've never vaped, but that sounds about right. He said that he didn't want to say it, but it was almost like he said, smoking cigarettes might be a better alternative, or at least not worse, necessarily. But it's just such a dumb drug. What benefit do you get from nicotine, from smoking cigarettes or vaping? The only benefit, as far as I can see, is that you relieve the pain of not taking it. Other than that, what do you get? All these people huddled outside buildings, furtively smoking away or vaping away. I mean, it looks tragic, apart from anything else. But what pleasure do you get out of it, other than relieving the pain of not doing it? Stupidest drug that's ever been invented. I cannot believe that people still do it. But this is what Fishy Sunak's big idea was, and it just seemed to come out of left field, and it was so totally not what the Tories are about. What do they care? Whether you kill yourself, every other part of their suite of policies seems designed to knock us off. I mean, life is less secure now than it was 13 years ago. I think almost uniquely on Earth, the length of time that we live, there's a phrase for that, and I can't remember what it is less now than it used to be. Everywhere else, the more time ticks on, the longer you live. I mean, we used to all expire when we were 30, which is, one of the reasons that when you get to middle age, your knees don't work and your back aches and your hips are sore and all of the rest of it is because we got a body that was only designed to last about 30 years, and then you collapsed and died. But the better medicine and food and so on means that we live longer now. Except for here, recently, when our life expectancy is the phrase that I was looking for. Life expectancy has actually gone down. So it appears that if they were trying to save us, then they're doing a really bad job. So what do they care whether we smoke or not? Incrementally raising the minimum age to buy tobacco. That's his big idea. So it will be illegal to buy at certain ages, which will work perfectly because, after all, recreational drugs are illegal and no one takes those, do they?
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Plymouth, Mark.
Oh, hi, yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, I was just wanted to pick up on something that was discussed earlier on about freedom to say what you think, and somebody ringing in saying the Labour Party would restrict this, restrict that. I mean, there are already laws saying that you can't incite hatred, violence and discrimination, which I think is a good thing, because you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end if somebody was spouting horrible things and that's obvious. But it made me laugh with one of the callers. He's probably it's a full moon, I don't know, but under this government, you've had more laws introduced to stop your freedom of speech, because what we had was the Policing Act that came in regarding protesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a barrister who was told if he wrote "Not My King" at the Coronation, that he'd be arrested.
Yes.
And you can't even have a static protest now, by the way. Any more than 10 people, the police can decide whether they think it's going to be a noise trigger.
Well, it's worse than that. Even if you're just one person and you are inconveniencing a business or another group of people in any way, you can be arrested.
Yeah, and this is under this government. They don't want the little people to protest, and so the police make an assumption that it could be noisy, or it could be this, it could be that, so we're going to arrest you.
Well, and
so
it's the first trick of an authoritarian regime is to prevent protests. I mean, and on that sort of concrete base, they can build their tower.
Yeah, they can choose the like you said, the number, the location can be restricted. It's not really a protest. It's reminiscent of China and Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you talk about freedom and this current, I mean, stop the world. I want to get off. Really, is this phrase that comes to mind, because after this conference, I've never seen anything quite like it. No. Really, and you're talking about the cigarettes. That's just a thing to distract, to get headlines, even though it won't be imposed. It's just part of a distraction. That's all that is.
Yeah.
I mean, he might as well go on stage with a revolving bow tie, because that would be a distraction. I think that would be the next thing.
I would like to see that, yeah.
Don't look at our policies, just look at the tie, at the tie, and just come out with those 5 words about priorities. And I could bash my head against a brick wall.
It's kind of depressing. I mean, it looks like the sort of end of times, doesn't it? It looks like a group of people who realise their time is up and they are determined to strip mine this country for every last little penny they can get, and then they'll sit on the sidelines blaming the Labour Party for everything that is wrong in this country the very second they lose the next election, assuming that is what is going to happen.
While this week I've had problems getting onto LBC, and my radio in the house and in the car, it takes a time for it to kick in. I actually thought to myself, is this the Conservative government? Have they meddled with the frequency because they don't want to listen to James O'Brien and Nick Abbott? And I thought to myself, that's ridiculous. But do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me.
No, exactly right.
Me.
Yes, things that we...
The callers
things that
we... problems.
Sorry.
But I don't know if any other callers have any problems, because it works in the other stations, but LBC, of the last couple of weeks, it takes a time to tune in, and that's different radios, by the way. It's one in my car and the one in the house. So
well, I haven't noticed that myself.
So, yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me.
No, exactly right. Things that you previously thought couldn't possibly happen in a country like this, that you would think, oh, well, that's third world country. That is some banana republic from Africa. That is some sort of dictatorship, sort of comical dictatorship that we would all laugh at. But none of it's funny anymore because it's happened here.
No. It's not. I'm laughing, but it's not. It's not. No. It's true. I don't know how would you describe it. Really?
And the thing that I've been saying for a while now, and I don't know of anybody else saying it because it sounds so utterly ridiculous when I say it. I would not. I'm about 50-50. If I had to actually bet money, I'm not sure which way I'd go. But the next election could be cancelled for our safety.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Nothing would surprise me.
Not now. All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Mark. Gotta go. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, it's bizarre times, ain't it? Weirder and weirder. Croydon. Hello, Mohammed.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been waiting today.
You've been waiting?
I've been waiting, but it's okay, no problem. When are we going to wake up as a people?
Wake up.
When are we going to wake up? Exactly. That noise, that sound was needed. When are we going to wake up? Why are we consistently voting for Tory party for the past 13 years, if I'm not mistaken?
I think selfishness is the word that you're looking for. People have acquired a certain amount of wealth and they want to cling on to it.
Okay.
And they have determined that the Tory party is the party that will make that happen.
Okay, but here's a statistic for you, right? Tory party, normally only rich people, normally go for Tory, and Labour is for working class.
It used to be, not now.
It used to be. But
it's the other way around. It's the other way around now, weirdly.
But only 5% of people that live in the UK make more than 100,000. So why are working class people still voting for Tories?
Yes, it's the party. The parties seem to have flipped because the Tories are now, their base is C2DE, is blue collar, poor people, essentially. It's people on the lower end of the scale. That's who votes Conservative. Middle class, white collar people vote Labour, or at least say they're going to.
Yeah, but everything that Conservatives have said they're going to do, they haven't done. Look at the state our country is in now.
Right.
Look at our healthcare. Look at our taxes. Look at everything.
Yep.
Our public services. It's a joke.
Yes, and
yet we continuously Brexit. We were the laughing stock of the world.
Well, we still kind of are. If it wasn't for Donald Trump in America, we would be the laughing stock of the world.
Oh, shut up!
And with him and with the current regime, I think what they're after can be summed up with this.
I love the poorly educated.
I love the poorly educated.
Yes.
Because let's not beat around the bush. If those with less education voted for Brexit, and it's those with less education that voted for the Conservative Party. It's almost like the plan is to make the country less educated so that they can keep doing this to us.
No, but some very highly educated people voted for Tory, voted for Brexit, and it's ridiculous.
Well, not many. That's certainly not the demographic that voted for Brexit. It's the other way around. It is weird that the Tories now are basically the party that is put into power by the poor, and those who are better off would vote, or at least they're saying they will vote, for the Labour Party. It's flipped upside down. And if the poor people of this country think that their interests coincide with those of the billionaires that fund the Tory party, then I have a house on the edge of a cliff I'd like to sell you. Mohammed, sorry you had to wait so long, but thanks for that. Oxford, Leslie.
Hello.
Leslie.
Hello. My ears pricked up when you were talking about 15-minute cities.
Yes.
So I'm based in Oxford, okay? And I've seen the council trash our cities.
Trashed Oxford?
Yeah.
I think not.
With their LTNs that they put in.
Yeah. Isn't that awful? Like less traffic? I know. Because that's what people want the most is like queues of traffic outside their house. Yeah.
But what they've done is put LTNs practically everywhere. So like a 10-minute journey takes 20 minutes.
Oh no, 20 minutes, another 10 minutes on your busy schedule, Leslie. What will you do?
So that's my first point. Okay. They've doubled everybody's journey. So everything...
Yeah, but that's not the only result of that policy, though, is it? They have created car-free zones.
Yes, but it doesn't work like that because
all the
traffic... Absolutely not. Because all the traffic... All the traffic that has been sort of...
Clogging up side streets is now on main roads.
Right. Which is a complete disgrace.
But no, it isn't a disgrace at all. All of those people that are living car-free lives now, who can open their windows without fumes pouring in, who don't have the constant noise of cars backed up down their road, they think it's fantastic. You know, the people that whine about any car measure, the government calls them anti-car, the war on cars, what people seem to forget, incredibly to me, is that you don't live in your car. You go to where you're going and then you get out and you become a pedestrian. These aren't anti-car measures, they're pro-people measures. And the amount of whining about the 20 miles an hour, I mean, God, I'll sum it up for you. That is all I'm hearing. When there's less cars, it's a more pleasant environment. And people are complaining about a more pleasant environment. I think maybe we need a do-over, like a planetary do-over. Perhaps climate change is actually a good thing. Maybe the extermination of the entire human race, and then we could start again. What do you say? Think about it at least. 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 Think about it.